YouTube, welcome to my first video. Today we're going to be talking about UKIP. Now UKIP is a right-wing populist Eurosceptic party, and I'm going to be feeding you a few facts about UKIP and about some of the members' beliefs. Now UKIP has been shrouded in controversy recently due to a few comments that some of their members have made and a few of their councillors have made. Now one councillor stated that homosexuality is compared it to bestiality. She was expelled from the party with all due force. There was another member who said he wanted compulsory sterilisation and abortion of all those with cerebral palsy, spina bifida and Down syndrome. And there is also another UKIP councillor who described Croydon as a dump, and he's lost his election, unsurprisingly, to become a councillor in Croydon. Now, I think one of the demands and one of the main issues that people desire out of UKIP is that they are fairly straight-talking, but in recent months, I say in the last 3 weeks, there's been really a one-man band with Nigel Farage, who's the leader of UKIP, and he has made so many media appearances on the major channels, BBC, ITV, Sky, and the other parties have barely had much of a look in, really. It's all been UKIP, UKIP. Nick Robinson, the BBC, has actually all he has talked about is UKIP, basically. A large section of the airtime that he has had has been on UKIP and the sudden surge in the UKIP vote. Now, in the council elections, which were a few days before the European elections, UKIP won over 140 councillors, but they do not have a control of a single council. What they have done is reduced the actual members, the actual Conservative and Liberal Democrat councillors. Lots of them have lost their jobs. The Liberal Democrats have lost over 200 seats, Conservative lost over 200, but Labour have won over 300 seats. So it's been a good night it was a good night for Labour and a good night for UKIP. But one of the problems that I have with this sudden surge in UKIP councillors is in Wimborne on the south coast of England, near Bournemouth. There was a councillor who was elected, who defected from the Tories, and he was elected by 1 vote. And then once he won the election, he stated that oh, I'm defecting back to Conservatives, he said, and I don't want to be a councillor anymore. He said, I just ran on the party ticket to represent UKIP voters. So what's the point in even trying to run? Why would you run for councillor if you didn't want to do the job in the first place? Some of the voting records of the UKIP members in the European Parliament is atrocious. Godfrey Bloom's voting record a few years ago was something like 4% attendance record in the European Parliament, and the Europe for Freedom and Democracy group overall has a fairly poor record for voting, and they don't actually. Nigel Farage has claimed that they are the turkeys, quote, they are the turkeys that vote for Christmas. Well, what you should be doing is trying to reform UKIP to make it more democratic inside, and push for a referendum also. What they're doing is just voting against all the proposals, all of the proposals of the EU Parliament, and with not much of a view on most issues. The actual on the YouTube channel of UKIP, where it shows the videos of some of the speeches of their European Parliament members, many of from the 2009 European elections, many of them have defected from the party, 2 defected to the Tories, and two have become an independent. Godfrey Bloom was removed from the party, and for calling members of his own party sluts, which I suppose was pretty hilarious, but whatever. So the main point that I have with UKIP and the main issue that I have with UKIP is the fact that they are very right-wing. Some of their economic policies are incredibly right-wing. They want for the 2010 general election, they posed a flat rate tax of 32%, which is exactly the same as the poll tax. Now, for those of you who know a bit about British history, in 1990, Margaret Thatcher tried to introduce the poll tax to Britain, and she first introduced it to Scotland, and there were huge riots everywhere, huge protests, and it just was not accepted by the British public. Now they think they're going to get through a 32% flat rate tax, and they've got another thing coming. Nigel Farage has made comments that he is the true successor to Margaret Thatcher. Now, many Labour voters who are now voting UKIP would, if they discovered that fact, would be turning around and running for home, and trying not to tell anyone that they voted UKIP in the first place. And this is a warning to those who are left wing and have voted for UKIP. They're an extremely right wing party, and their economic policies reflect that of right wing ideology. Paul Nuttall, the deputy leader of UKIP, has stated that the very existence of the NHS stifles competition. So I don't know many people in British politics at the moment who are professing open hostility and conflict to the NHS. The Tories are doing it under the back door, but Paul Nuttall has professed that he wants the NHS more streamlined. In his most recent Question Time appearance, he stated he wants the NHS more streamlined. So that is my main problem with UKIP at the moment. Nigel Farage, I think personally, is not a racist. Obviously he's a very intelligent man, and he's a very skilled politician, but some of the members in his party are really, the views that they hold are outdated and out of touch, and there are many former Conservative councillors in UKIP that hold really weird views, really odd views that wouldn't be accepted in the modern Conservative Party, let alone in the other party. So if you can give me your comments on this, and I'll make a few more videos about this issue by demand. So thanks very much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a great week, and keep following the elections and the results.